All right, let's just get it. Y'all can catch up later. Since I'm on a call right now, I'm gonna go ahead and get this in on the early tip. What's going on, brother? Shout out to God King Live. In case y'all don't know, some of the a couple of the songs I used for my intro on Black Guy Stand Radio, he did that. So salute you for that, and the good music that you do. But let me just go ahead and do this one, and I want to make this clear. I'm gonna probably have to say that. Oh, okay, hold on. I'm probably gonna have to say this a few times within this post, because I don't want people thinking that the reason I'm doing this is because I'm passing judgment, or trying to act like I'm on a higher moral ground than some of the people in this discussion. It's not what it is. I'm not here to judge what you do with your body. I'm not here to try to imply that we should control what you do with your body. That's not the point of this post. But remember, I've been saying stay on code for the last couple of days. And so this does fit into that. So let me just say it like this. It's not that, listen, I understand that, saying sometimes a woman's going to make the decision that she thinks is best for her. And we're not going to always agree with that decision. But let's go ahead and take it to the subject and anchor it. We're talking about the abortion laws that's been passed in the South recently. So let's understand why they're passing these abortion laws right now. They're making it illegal for abortions because they know that their population is in a negative birth rate. So they know that because of this homosexual agenda, because a lot of white women are barren, because they're not having children and these kind of things, that their birth rate is so low that they're projected to be extinct. So what they're doing is they're saying it's mandatory now. Y'all gonna have those babies. Y'all ain't gonna extinct our race. You're gonna have those babies. That's the reason why they passed that law, saying it's mandatory that women have the babies instead of having abortions, right? They're trying to preserve their race. That's why. Now, seeing that that's the case, and when we look at the numbers, since 1973, I believe that's when they made abortion legal. Since then, 15 million Black babies have been aborted, which is more than the top 5 leading deaths combined and doubled. That's a fact. Now, like I said, this isn't about trying to shame any woman. It's not about that. And it's not about trying to judge any woman. It's not about that. But my question is this. Seeing that we are being murdered by the police, we've seen what happened in Baytown, Texas. Seeing that this is happening and we're complaining about it on one hand, what a game is it now that we will actually have the same Black women that was complaining, rightfully so, about the murder that happened in Texas to Pamela Turner? How are these same women now bragging about aborting babies? So like I said, I'm not judging you for the decision that you make, but I'm not even saying that I have never been a part of making a decision like that. What I'm saying is, when did it become acceptable to casually brag about aborting babies? You had to do it. You felt like that's the best choice you had to make. Understand. I can't judge you I can't judge you for that. I'm not here to judge you for that. I'm not here to imply that I have the right to impose my will on your body. The only question I'm asking is, when did our paradigm shift to where now we're bragging about abortions? Remember, I spoke to you about warfare when I was saying stay on code, and this is all linked. So I told you in warfare, and those who are been in the military can vouch for this. In warfare, they dehumanize the target audience. So they'll call them things like insurgents, terrorists, niggers, because now it's just a nigger that's dead. It's not a human being. It's an insurgent. And then when they kill innocent people, so let's say like they bomb a mall with 3,000 people because they're trying to get one person. What do they call the deaths of the 3,000 innocent people? They call it collateral damage. Sounds a lot better. It's a lot more palatable than saying we killed 5,000 or 3,000 innocent people. So they call it collateral damage. It doesn't sink to your conscious that these were human beings that are killed. So now what we call murdering of a child that hasn't been born, we call it abortion. A little bit more palatable. It was just an abortion. They didn't suck a baby from limb to limb with a vacuum. They didn't poke a hanger and just stab it to death and then pull out the guts. It was just an abortion. It wasn't a baby murder. So I'm saying now when we use these type of terms, we detach from what it really is. So like I said, this ain't about, I'm gonna keep saying it, this ain't about judging y'all. It's not about trying to act like I'm on a moral high ground or anything like that. It's not that. I'm not implying that we should have a say-so, whatever you want to do with your body. I believe it should be at least a mutual decision with the person. You know what I'm saying? It should be a mutual decision. That's my opinion. But what I'm saying is, when did it become appropriate to brag? And what's the dangers of us bragging? And I'm seeing brothers do this too. But what's the dangers of us bragging about aborting babies? I'm hearing sisters say also blood sacrifice, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's the reason why black women have more bachelor degrees in businesses than anybody else, because we're blood sacrificing these babies. The fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're not even gonna give yourself credit for being to start a business and stay through school. You're gonna give the credit to the fact that you're murdering babies. Come on, let's keep it real. That's not what it is. And I'm gonna tell you the dangers. This is really why the point of this. The dangers of bragging about it. If that's what you felt you had to do, that's your business. I'm not judging you, but I'm saying the dangers of bragging about it. Like to be online bragging about aborting babies. The danger of that is you're letting the world know that you have no regard for the life of your own people. So it's very hard for them to take you serious when you're complaining about police murdering us, when they ain't murdered as many of us as we've murdered us. So it's hard for the world to really see. It's hard for us, more importantly, to really be able to quantify the loss of life that we're having against us because of police terrorism, because of infighting. I won't call it black on black crime. We know that all races kill each other about the same rate. But I'm saying that when we could sit up here and brag, how can we brag? How can we brag about murdering innocent babies and then complain about grown adults being murdered? I'm saying, how can we do that? How can we justify that shit? This ain't about telling you what to do with your body, but I'm saying understand a couple things, because then you'll understand the contrast. Understand that, number one, the reason they passed those laws in the South particularly is because they know their birth rate is about to make them extinct. So they're trying to preserve their life. At the same time, we're bragging about us killing our own babies. You know how monstrous that makes us look? You know how animalistic that makes us look? You know how hypocritical that makes us look? Because you're giving them ammo to say, like, look, we only kill about 300 of y'all a year by the police. Y'all are murdering millions of your own before they're even born. Y'all are murdering thousands of your own and infighting across the United States. Y'all are murdering hundreds of thousands of your own just by cancers and this and that, by not eating right and taking care of yourself. So it's delegitimizing what we're going through when you're bragging about it. Like I said, it's your body. You know what I'm saying? It is ironic that, you know, at the same time, that, like the post said that I shared, at the same time that, you know, men, you know, we'll go through child support and all this stuff. Maybe we didn't want the baby, blah, blah, blah. It's not our decision. But then you have the right to just abort it and then brag about it. That's the main point here. It's not the fact that you did what you felt you had to do. If that's the decision you felt was best for your life, who am I to judge you on that? Who am I to say that you're wrong? I can feel how I want to feel about it. That's neither here nor there. It's your decision. It's your body. Understood. My point is, how off code is it to sit up here and brag about it? Some of y'all brothers bragging about it, making jokes about it. Some of these sisters are bragging about it. They're actually bragging about it. They're actually LOL, casually speaking about murdering babies. But of course they're not calling it murdering babies, because it's an abortion. It's an abortion. It's collateral damage. We're not really talking about life here, because we have detached and dehumanized our own existence. Let's keep it real. Your grandmothers did not believe in abortion. For millennium, we did not believe in abortion. So I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying you're using the same talking points that Margaret Sanger used when she introduced abortion to the black communities to depopulate us. You're using these same damn talking points and you're bragging about it. Let's just keep it real. That shit it's not cool. The bragging part, if you have to do what you have to do, keep that shit silent, man. When I was younger and involved in other things, I had to do things I had to do to protect my life. I wouldn't brag about it. It's not appropriate. Yeah, the motherfucker was trying to murder me. It is what it is. I have to protect myself. It's nothing to brag about. And that's all I'm trying to say. Because it makes us look a certain kind of way when people can point the finger. Remember, they're already trying to make us super predators. That's the image that they're sending out all across the world. These people are animals. They're super predators. They're gangbangers. Look at this is how the women act. This is how the men act. This is what it is. Woo, woo, woo. That's the message that they're trying to signal. And here we are knowing that we're supposed to be the refined and, that our spirituality and moralities have been the basis for all these different religions. We know that all this stuff comes from us in civilization, and we know how our people were back in the days. We didn't have words for divorces, according to our scholars, because we understood the family. We didn't have words for abortions, or we didn't have a word for some of these things because we had a morality about us. Now look at us, 2019, and we're bragging about shit that we shouldn't be bragging about. If you had to do that, cool. Just keep it quiet. Don't brag about it as if that was a noble, cool thing. Don't make that the new cool. Please don't do that. Don't make the new cool abortions. Don't make that cool. If you had to do that, that's just your business. But when do we start bragging about these things, but then still have the audacity to complain about a police murdering a black woman in Texas? What if they just call that an abortion? That's why I made that post, not to make light of the situation. I'm just showing you the contrast of how when we use different word plays, some things become acceptable that shouldn't be acceptable. Because if you had to call it what you call it, y'all sisters wouldn't be up there bragging about it. I don't hear you saying, yeah, I murdered all kind of babies. You're saying aborted, because that takes the context away and it detaches from the actual fact that it was a murder. And when did we start bragging about that? When did we become those people that brag about that? That's all I'm saying. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to say I'm morally superior to you. Like I've never done anything. I'm not saying none of that shit. I'm saying that when did this become something that we actually brag about? That's real. That's real talk. It's murder. The second you conceive that seed has a beat, it's a lie. Yeah, it is. I agree with that. However, like I said, this isn't about passing judgment. You know what I'm saying? And look, I understand. Like, okay, a lot of people make the argument that, okay, what if she's raped and she doesn't want to carry the seed of her rape? Look it. Not that that's a big majority of the abortions, but I understand. Hell, I'll even understand if you just felt like you can't do that at this time and you're scared, whatever the case may be. I don't agree with it, but I understand that's your choice to make. It's your body. I would hope that you make that decision with the person. However, at the end of the day, it's your decision. Look, it is what it is. Whether I agree or not doesn't even matter. What I'm saying is, when did we take that and make it something that we brag about? And if we're going to brag about that, and I look, if some of y'all get mad when y'all see this, that's good. If some of y'all sisters get mad when you see this, just like some of the other things I posted, that's actually a good thing, because at least means that you have enough of a conscience that you're having a tug of war with your conscience, because one part of your mind is telling you that shit ain't cool, and the other one's trying to tell you why it's cool. At least you're having that conflict enough to show that you have a conscience if you're getting upset. Like one of the people that blocked me. Like, you don't have to announce you're blocking me. I'm not going to notice you blocked me. What I'm saying is, when did this become something braggable? Because if we can brag about that, now we're justifying. Now other people can justify the fact that we're being murdered. They can justify the fact that we don't get justice in the law. They can justify these things now because they can look and say, look at these animals, man. Who brags about murdering their own babies? Who does that? So it's hard for us to really have legitimacy when we complain. That's why I said this, it's just all about being on code. That's really what it comes down to, being on code. Because how are we going to struggle and be in the streets and try to get these laws passed so that they can't murder us with impunity, but at the same time, we're bragging about doing murder and impunity. Because when you look at the numbers, they say 15 million since 1973. That's more than the other top 5 leading deaths of Black people combined and doubled, almost tripled. Teeters on the tripling of it. That means all the cancer, police violence, Black on Black violence, whatever they call it, accidents, whatever. All that shit doubled, damn near tripled. All that shit combined, then doubled, damn near tripled, does not amount to the same amount of lives that were murdered by abortion. So at the same time, they're trying to preserve their life by making it illegal for abortion. At the same time, they're doing any drastic measures. And I understand that women are mad because it's like, oh, what are you doing? You can't tell us what to do with our body. I understand that. But I'm saying the reason why they're doing that is actually because they need to preserve their own life. So as they're making this extreme move to try to preserve their existence, we're bragging about aborting ours. And it's hard to really, justify that we're upset about police killing us when they can just show the numbers like, yo, compared to what y'all are doing, that ain't shit. Shut the fuck up. Because that's what they're already doing. They're already doing that shit. Don't give them more ammo to do that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Don't give them more ammo to justify that we're savages and to justify that them killing us is nothing because we're killing ourselves. Don't justify that by bragging about it. I'm not telling you what to do with your body for the umpteenth time. What I'm saying is, when did we become braggers of such actions? When did we become that low where this is something that we casually speak of with LOLs and we brag about? That's all I'm saying. So I know some sisters or some people will see this post later on and they'll try to imply I'm saying something I'm not saying. I'm not saying that we should have control of your body. Do what you want to. I'm saying, like, just like when I say stay on code, when we don't agree with, a major figure in our community who's actually done great work, when we don't agree with another organization that actually does put in work, just like I say, we shouldn't talk about that publicly on our enemy's platform. This is a discussion that we should be having privately. If we don't agree with Farrakhan or the NOI or anybody else, these are some of these conversations we should have privately, because you have to understand that when they attack some of these leaders, they're not attacking those leaders. They're actually attacking us by proxy through those leaders, because they know those leaders represent us, whether some of us like them or not. That's how they see it. They're playing chess. So they know if they can pick off some of these major people that got big constituencies and followings and influence, if they could pick them off, once they're out the way, everybody else is just food. That's why I say we should be careful and stay on code and have some conversations. Go to melanated.people.net where it's only us. If you want to air out some of those grievances, do it like that. We have our own platforms we could be using for that. I'm saying this, we don't do that publicly. We don't do that, you know what I'm saying? You don't air out your dirty laundry in front of company, right? You don't take your family internal business to the streets, right? You keep it in-house. So I'm saying, as far as if you feel like you had to do this and that, and that's whatever, that's cool. Do what you do. All I'm saying is, when did we become braggers of this? I'm glad some women are sticking up. I'm glad some women at least do see that. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that that's the case. Unfortunately, it's disturbing to see how many of these conscious Hotepian, Shabazz, Bay, Yasha'Allahs, and Oshuns and shit. It's disturbing to see how many of y'all are up here bragging about killing babies, because we're calling it abortion instead of what it really is. Yeah, it became acceptable. Say when social media gave them a platform, it became acceptable. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's also more acceptable when we can call it something it's not. So like I said, like in war, when they kill innocent people, they don't call it murdering innocent people. They don't report that on news. Oh yes, by the way, we bombed a super mall in Afghanistan, and 2,000 people were dead. They call it collateral damage. They're trying to get one person. They had to also sacrifice 2,000 people that were innocent, so they call it collateral damage. Collateral damage makes it more palatable. abortion makes it more palatable. If they're just niggers, it makes it more palatable. If they're just insurgents or terrorists, it makes it more palatable. People don't have the same reaction when 13 insurgents are dead, rather than, hey, 13 husbands and fathers and mothers and children are dead. It's a little bit easier to palate. Yet and still it's the same thing. But these are tactics of warfare. That's all I'm trying to make people understand. These are tactics of warfare. Change it from murder to abortion. It's easier to say because you don't see them saying, yeah, I murdered all kind of babies. I didn't kill all kind of babies. You should have seen them sucking the limb from limb with a vacuum cleaner out my coot. They're not saying that. We're not even having a discussion if maybe we should consider condoms. You know what I'm saying? I mentioned birth control. Oh, yeah, I gained 60 pounds on birth control. Fuck that. Okay, what about condoms? I know they don't feel as good, but I'm just saying, like, at least we could explore some of these options before we start bragging. That's my real concern, is the fact that we're bragging. Because I understand how off-code that is and what signals that gives to other people, what justifications that's going to give to other people, and it leaves us all vulnerable to this off-code. That's my point. It leaves us vulnerable because it's off-code, because it's hard to justify us being upset about the Baytown pig that murdered that black woman when the next day black women are bragging about murdering babies. That's what I'm saying. Because believe me, the Fox Newses and all these people that control the narrative, this is the kind of stuff that they use to justify what happens to us. They use these things to subtly suggest to the population, including ourselves, that maybe it's not a big deal that they're murdering us. This is what the Fox News and the Sean Hannity say all the time. Soon as we start complaining about a police officer that murdered one of our unarmed people, the first thing they say is, well, you know, black on black crime. You guys kill more of yourself than others. How are you upset? It's the first thing they start implying. Well, don't give them that juice is all I'm saying. Don't give them that juice, man. That's the point. I'm bragging about this shit, man. There's something wrong with y'all Negroes and bitches that y'all want to brag about this shit. I'm not telling you that you can't do what you want to do with your body. It's your body. I'm not judging you for what you do with your body, even if I agree or not. That's not the point. The point is, when do you start bragging about the shit? That's some goofy ass shit. That's some off-code ass shit that leaves us all vulnerable. It's detrimental to us as a people. Let alone the fact that if you want to just do the numbers, we would have 15 more million people in our population right now. How many Malcolm X's would have came from that? How many saviors and people that could have changed the world would have came from that? That would have also beefed up our numbers. But like I said, it's your business, but let's not brag about the shit. That's the dumb shit, man. You done.